Okay, what I'm doing here this week is I'm looking to help you all look at your XFL games and everything, your strategies. If you're playing cash games in particular, it's of course more difficult to cash in consistently on a double up 50-50 or head-to-head contest. What I want you to do is look to wealthyfantasyfootball.com. That way, this article will be updated here throughout the week. By Friday evening, be good to go. If you want to double check Saturday morning, make sure nothing has changed. That's great because the games start at 2 p.m. My last video, I did go over the Houston Roughnecks and the other game, the other team, the Tampa Bay Vipers. Just a little bit more on that game first before I move on. Sorry, this kind of runs together, the videos and so forth. How Houston is a run and shoot offense. That's what I talk about here down in the inside analysis for Houston. Since the beginning of the year, they don't have any tight ends, so you don't have to worry about that, and you can just go about using the top wide receivers. What I'll do here is I'm going to add in actually first of all these lines so you can see them on wealthyfantasyfootball.com. Starting with the Roughnecks of Tampa Bay Vipers, 45.5 over under. Roughnecks favored by 6. I would take Roughnecks by more points than that, just as a note, because the way they're running their offense. Walker, the quarterback, is excellent. He's a good thrower. He's a good runner. He can do it all. I'm really impressed with rewatching that game as I did yesterday, and so you can look to do that. But I'm also going to put in there the top in rank of option, so based on targets, yards, not just targets but also yards, and potential involvement in the offense for week 3, what we can get there. So I'm just going to rank them out as far as targets, and I'm going to give you who had the most touches, so that is receptions, and of course for DraftKings reception you get a point for running backs as well. So that's how you're going to see it laid out for you right under this week 3. It'll be on the site. So what I also want to do here real quick is compare for the game. Actually compare salaries, but let's take a look at the other game real quick. Oh, that's something else. Actually what this is, I'm going to do another video for the NBA cash slate for the 20th. That's today, this morning. So I'll do that in a separate video. So if you want to get some cash in for cash games in particular on NBA's slate for today on DraftKings. So what I was looking at here is basically all the quarterbacks has obviously risen in price, except the quarterback that's the steal of the deal this week is actually, whereas price hasn't raised up much or just raised minimally, is Josh Johnson. At 9,200 last week. Let's just click over here and see, because this is still set on last week. It hasn't updated for this week on this particular site. This is a draft dashboard. You can obtain it and get it so you can watch your own players in any sport pretty much up here, and getting ready for all things, Major League Baseball included, NHL I do also as well. So you can use this tool for all the overall rankings, matchups, and so forth. You can see in a fantasy sense. So right here, Josh Johnson last week was 10-4, as you can see right here. 10-4. He was projected at 19 points. I'm not sure offhand what he did in scoring, but 3.6 value he got. So that's going to go up, obviously, to more up in this 4 range. Going to hit values such as similar to Walker and Jones. So keep that in mind for Josh Johnson. I wanted to note, as Josh Johnson is playing, hosting at home the DC Defenders. That's the best defense in the league, I can tell you that also as well. So look out there. I mean, that's probably why his price is so low. But other than that, I also want to look at the running backs because to see if there's any good value plays as well. So we got top of the price chain here. 8,500 for Butler, the Houston running back, of course. He's quite involved in the offense. However, not to the extent of actually saying, well, they're going to pass this up the run. He's not involved that much. They're not setting up for the run, just consistently throwing, in my opinion. So that's what's going on there. More of an intriguing pick here is Cap. So that's Cameron Artis-Payne playing at Seattle. Seattle's got a good defense, though. Second rank defense you can see here against a fantasy running back. So that's what you can tell right here. Salary's $8,300. Of course, it's going to be raised from $8,500 and $8,300. For these guys, from $6,300 last week to $8,500. It's a significant jump just to get Butler. And then Artis-Payne, he was $5,600 last week. This week he is $8,300. So then the other guy consistent that actually has a consistent team that runs is St. Louis. They're playing at home. Possibly a favored squad. Let me go ahead and take a look here for you. Right here we got the St. Louis Battlehawks favored by 9 points. That's obvious here. And a 41 over-under. So it's a really good script for Mr. Jones. So you can look at that. Third ranked. Opponent rank, third against that particular. Not really good as far as a defensive matchup because they, for whatever reason, the teams have not been running on them much. Like they played Houston last week, so these numbers are a little bit skewed as far as the competition. So don't worry about that from Matt Jones. This week he's $7,500. Last week he was, if I can find him here, $5,900. So a significant jump in his salary as well. So now you're getting to see much more tight. Everybody's raised salary basically to sum it up. So it's going to be much more important. Last week I was able to just play anybody in my lineup that I wanted. I'm not worried about price. Amazingly, for the second week, and it didn't turn out so well overall. The first week it turned out very well. Hit number 2 or number 1 in a tournament out of a few hundred people. Stuff like that went very well in the first week. Now it's become more challenging, more like NFL, where you have to pick and choose and make all these cuts as far as your player watch list and decide who you really want, who you can play, who cannot play, and so forth and so on. So, but just taking one more quick look at this particular matchup here, the Dallas Renegades at the Seattle Dragons. Just got to pull my notes up right here with you as well. For the Dallas, thought I had that Dallas. Yeah, here we go. Coached by Bob Stoops. I can tell you they have a lot of receivers. When I update my notes later on for the week for this game, the Dallas have a lot of receivers. They have run out there, and a lot of them minimal target exposure. So they're going to have a lot of variance when it comes to the Dallas passing game. But as for the running backs, Dunbar, he's very consistent, and he can get you pass catches even against the Seattle Dragons. Pretty decent defense. They've had lower scoring games as well the past 2 games. Dallas is favored, I believe, by 4.5, or is it Seattle? I'll double check that for you, but it's going to be a closer game anyways. So that's what we're looking at here. Interestingly, Seattle Dragons at home. So it'll be a competitive game basically. So you can look at the script for both teams. For the Seattle Dragons, they also had quite a few receivers in the mix there. Their consistent running back was trying to recall the name. Farrell, he got pretty involved in the passing game, and this other guy, T. Williams, he's only $5,000 surprisingly. So let's look at the prices here. For the Seattle running backs, Farrell $6,100, so his price jumped. But the other guy, Williams, so they left somebody off the price bump, right? This is what we're looking for, really, this week. So I'm just looking for. Whoops, I was on the wrong team when I was looking at. I get these teams mixed up, of course, still like everybody else. Vipers and Dragons. Vipers actually. Devion Smith $7,500. That's the team we're on, right? Okay, no, I'm sorry. We're on the Seattle Dragons. Seattle Dragons have the blue and, fire coming out of the mouth of the dragon. So, Farrell, $6,100, that's correct. And then the other guy I'm looking for right here, Williams, Trey Williams is his name. Trey Williams is only 5,000. Let's see what he did right here on the DraftKings site. Game log. 11 carries last week. That's what I was the first week, that is. 11 carries. Target wise though, he didn't get the carries, but he got the targets last week. In that matchup, they were playing. Seattle Dragons were hosting. No, that's week 1. Last week, the Seattle Dragons were hosting. Oh, let me see here. The Vipers. Yes. So when they were playing the Vipers, the Dragons. I'm going to rewatch this game again, but the Dragons actually were at home, and I'm surprised they didn't run the ball more. So what they're doing here, let's see here. Click on this game. But I see no problem. My point is hitting value with this guy. Just surprised they didn't run the ball a little bit more, in this kind of matchup. I believe it was, pretty close throughout, from remembering watching it originally. But here we go. Williams did get 11 carries last week. Trey Williams, and then he got a target. So here it's showing week 2, 11 carries. Okay, so I had this backwards here. Week 2, 11 carries. Week 1, 5 targets. He was involved in the passing game. That's good. He had a receiving touchdown. So his price is way too cheap for what you're getting here. Just to double check again. Plus, don't worry about, if I make a mistake or something right now. It's all going to be laid out here on the wealthyfantasyfootball.com. The target, rank, and share then for the running backs as well. All right, so for the Dragons, the carries were basically split up a lot. So, but I'm going to trust the guy more that had the receptions, which was Trey Williams from week 1. He had 5 targets. So that's what I'm going to trust more there for cash games, I can tell you. So, all right, enjoyed going over and reviewing some of this with you. It's going to be up on there on the site, and we'll talk to you all later.